Jungkook sits on the couch, gripping the glass of water in his hands as he struggles to rein in his emotions. Across from him, Nick fidgets uncomfortably, the weight of the conversation hanging heavily in the air. Jungkook, I didn't know, Nick starts, his voice soft but defensive. I thought we were just having a moment, you know? I didn't think I was being too pushy. Jungkook's jaw clenches, and he sets the glass down with a soft thud. A moment? Nick, I told you no, multiple times. How is that not clear enough? Nick rubs the back of his neck, looking visibly flustered. I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable. I swear. But you didn't say anything when we talked about it earlier, so I thought, maybe you were into it but shy. Jungkook's voice rises in disbelief, his eyes narrowing. Shy isn't the same as saying no. And just because I didn't argue in the morning doesn't mean I was okay with it by the evening. He leans forward, his tone sharper. Do you realize how terrifying it is to have someone ignore your boundaries like that? Nick looks away, his shoulders slumping. I didn't thought of it like that. I didn't mean to hurt you, Jungkook. That's the problem, Nick. You didn't think, Jungkook says, his voice trembling with frustration. You only thought about what you wanted. Not once did you stop to ask if I was okay. Nick opens his mouth to respond but hesitates, his face etched with guilt. I'm sorry, he finally mutters. I didn't know you felt that way, Jungkook coughs, shaking his head. That's because you never cared enough to ask. And honestly, I'm not even sure if you're sorry for what you did or just sorry you got called out. I'm sorry for everything, Nick says quickly, desperation creeping into his voice. I really am, Jungkook. Please, just give me a chance to make it right. Jungkook stares at him for a long moment, his emotions swirling. Then, with a sigh, he leans back into the couch, his expression cold. You can't just fix this with an apology, Nick. What you did made me feel unsafe. That's not something I can easily forgive. Nick nods slowly, his gaze dropping to the floor. I get it. I do. And I'll do whatever it takes to make up for it. Jungkook shakes his head, a bitter laugh escaping his lips. You still don't get it. This isn't about what you can do. This is about what I need. And right now, I need space. Nick looks like he wants to protest but stops himself. He nods reluctantly and stands, his movements hesitant. Okay, he says quietly. I'll go. But, if you ever want to talk, I'm here. Without another word, Jungkook watches as Nick walks to the door. When the door clicks shut, a heavy silence settles over the apartment. Jungkook exhales shakily, his hands trembling as he picks up his phone. He immediately opens his messages. Jungkook, Taehyung. The reply comes almost instantly. Taehyung, I'm here, baby. What's wrong? Jungkook stares at the screen, his emotions overwhelming him. Jungkook, can you come over? Taehyung, on my way. Jungkook sets his phone down and leans back against the couch, closing his eyes. For the first time that evening, he feels a sliver of relief. Jungkook sat on the couch, his chest rising and falling with labored breaths as he avoided Taehyung's intense gaze. Across from him, Taehyung stood still, his broad shoulders tense and his jaw clenched, the frustration between them suffocating. Jungkook, I didn't mean for things to feel this way, Taehyung said softly, his voice filled with remorse. I thought I was doing what was right for us, but clearly, I was wrong. Jungkook scoffed, shaking his head. doing what was right for us. No, Taehyung, you were doing what was right for you. Did you ever stop to think about how I felt I did? I just didn't realize how much it was hurting you. Taehyung's voice wavered slightly, his composure cracking. That's the problem, Tae, Jungkook said, his voice trembling. You keep saying you didn't realize, but that doesn't change the fact that you keep pushing me. It's exhausting having to constantly defend my boundaries to someone who's supposed to care about me. Taehyung ran a hand through his hair, frustration flickering across his face. I do care about you. That's why I'm trying to fix this. Why can't we just move forward and work on it together, because I'm not even sure you understand what the real problem is, Jungkook snapped, his voice rising. It's not just about what happened last night, Taehyung. It's about all the times you made me feel like I wasn't enough unless I gave you what you wanted. That's not fair, Jungkook, Taehyung said, his voice dropping to a near whisper. I've never thought you weren't enough. You're everything to me. Then why does it feel like all you care about? Jungkook asked, his eyes glistening with unshed tears. Why does it feel like every conversation somehow circles back to what you need? Taehyung took a hesitant step closer, his hands outstretched in a calming gesture. I know I've been selfish, and I know I've hurt you. But please, Jungkook, believe me when I say I'm willing to change. I don't want to lose you. Jungkook crossed his arms over his chest, his body language defensive. I don't want to keep having the same argument over and over, Tae. I'm tired. I'm tired of having to explain why my feelings should matter just as much as yours. Taehyung's face softened, his eyes filled with regret. He sank down onto the couch beside Jungkook but kept a respectful distance. I know I've let you down, and I hate that I made you feel this way. You mean more to me than anything, Jungkook. I'll do whatever it takes to make you feel safe and valued. Jungkook looked down at his hands, his shoulders slumping as the tension in his body began to ease. I need you to really listen to me, Taehyung. Not just today, but every day. I need you to respect my boundaries without making me feel like I have to defend them. I will, Taehyung promised, his deep voice steady with sincerity. I swear I'll listen better, and I'll be patient. I just want us to be okay, Jungkook. I'll do anything to make that happen. Jungkook glanced at him, searching his face for any sign of insincerity. Finally, he sighed and leaned back against the couch, the fight draining out of him. I don't know if I can keep doing this, Taehyung. I need time to figure out if I can trust you again. Taehyung nodded, his throat tightening with emotion. Take all the time you need, baby. I'll be here, waiting for you. The room fell into a heavy silence, but for the first time in what felt like forever, it wasn't oppressive. It was filled with the tentative hope of a fresh start, though the road ahead remained uncertain. Jungkook sat stiffly on the couch, his hands gripping the fabric of his sweatpants as though it were the only thing anchoring him to reality. The faint hum of Taehyung moving around the kitchen echoed in the background, but it did little to soothe the storm brewing inside him. Moments earlier, Taehyung had attempted to comfort him, his arms wrapping around Jungkook in what should have been a reassuring embrace. Yet, it felt off, like being held by someone he didn't quite recognize. Now, alone in the living room, Jungkook picked up his phone. As expected, a flurry of messages from someone who thrived on stirring trouble awaited him. Taehyung, how's my pretty baby? Still sulking? Taehyung, don't tell me you're letting that idiot ruin your evening. Or did you actually let him touch what's mine? The goal. Jungkook's jaw tightened as he read the words, his fingers tightening around the device. Taehyung's teasing had always been a mix of infuriating and charming, but tonight, it leaned far more toward the former. Before he could, Taehyung's grip on the steering wheel tightened as he navigated the quiet streets, the hum of the car the only sound in the otherwise calm night. Jungkook shifted beside him, drawing Taehyung's attention for a moment before his focus returned to the road. The air between them was thick with unspoken tension. Jungkook, looking out the window, glanced back at Taehyung, his cheeks flushed slightly in the dim light. Taehyung. Jungkook's voice was soft, tinged with uncertainty. Taehyung kept his hand on the wheel, but his fingers subtly brushed against Jungkook's leg, a gesture that spoke volumes without a single word. Jungkook's breath caught, a slight shiver running down his spine. Taehyung. Jungkook repeated, more insistently this time, unsure of how to move forward. Taehyung's lips curled into a faint smile as he pulled the car to a stop in a secluded spot. He turned to face Jungkook, his expression serious but gentle. "You've been quiet all night," Taehyung said, his tone warm but carrying a weight that made Jungkook's heart race. Jungkook hesitated, his fingers nervously twisting in his lap. "I didn't mean to make things awkward." Taehyung leaned closer, his gaze softening. "You're not making anything awkward. I just want you to feel comfortable with me. Whatever you need." Jungkook's breath caught at Taehyung's words. He nodded, though his mind raced, unsure of how to respond. Taehyung reached out, gently cupping Jungkook's chin, lifting it slightly to meet his eyes. "You can trust me, okay?" Jungkook nodded again, feeling a sense of warmth wash over him. He relaxed slightly, feeling the tension between them dissolve. "Just breathe," Taehyung whispered, his voice calm, and Jungkook felt his nerves settle, his chest no longer so tight. For a moment, they simply looked at each other, the world outside seeming to fade away. Jungkook leaned forward a little, closing the distance between them. "Thank you," Jungkook murmured, his voice barely audible, but it was enough for Taehyung to hear. Taehyung smiled softly, leaning in for a brief, reassuring kiss forehead. "You don't have to thank me. We're in this together." And with that, the weight of the night seemed to lift, leaving only the peaceful quiet of the car and the comfort they found in each other's presence.